What is going on, guys? It's Burgas here and welcome to another Age of Empire mobile video. Now, in Age of Empire mobile, Lubu pairing is one of the most misunderstood cavalry setups in Age of Empire mobile gameplay, and most players are building the wrong third hero for their actual battlefield role. This Age of Empire mobile strategy breakdown explains why your cavalry march may already be losing fights before combat even starts, because your third SWAT completely change how the march perform in the rallies, open field, and well fight. So here we're going to talk about the third hero and how the things are changing. We're going to go over the Attila, the Timur, the Vlad, even Diochan, but I still believe Diochan is not the right hero for Lubu, but I'm going to say a couple words for the people who wanna, use Diochan. It's going to be mainly targeted at Attila, Timur, and Vlad, because right now we already know that just 1 second, that from point of cavalry, especially the warrior cavalry, we are having Kubo and Zhao Yun. This is period. This is going to be the two who is going to be there in the Legion. But who is going to be the third one from Attila, the Timur, and Vlad the third? This is the three heroes we're going to also talk about, and all of this each of these hero is changing the purpose of the Lubu completely. So you may have one result, which is obvious. You're going to have one result with one of the two hero and completely different with the other one. But first thing first, your third hero is destroying the march, and how this actually happened. Now, players think Lubu Cavalry is one universal build, and this is something that I actually believe for a very long amount of time. I was thinking that the Lubu is just going to be with Guanhui and Attila, and after this Guanhui was replaced with Attila and Timur, but right now we have Zhao Yun, and to be fair, Zhao Yun is a very solid one, and this is one of the new heroes. I already make him like 5-star. I heavily invest in Zhao Yun. Some people are using Zhao Yun as a commander, since it's also very fast hero, deals my damage to the enemy troop and applies 1 stack of Cloud Dragon. This is the commander one, for 15 seconds when reducing damage taken by your troop by 8%. Now, here is the thing: reducing damage taken by your troop by 8%. This is more like survivability, sustain on the battle, built from the pure Lubu. Deals might damage up to 5 enemy troops in circular arena. Damage rates, blah blah blah. Reduce their movement speed by 10%. This is very aggressive hero to be a commander. But anyway, people was thinking there is a universal build for Lubu. And the third hero, the third hero changes the entire march identity completely. Wrong third SWAT creates bad traits against stronger accounts. And for accounts like mine, right now I'm in the Kingdom 12. I'm basically fighting against late game players. Even though that I was for a very long time AFK, basically I was just Woggy Kin, not even doing the quest, I was just doing the legendary advent to get all the heroes, and at one point I'm going to actually, when I come back, I'm going to level up those heroes. It's not that easy. It's not that easy. Maybe one of the biggest mistakes a player can do is going AFK in progression build, in progression game, and after this thinking that he can catch up faster. Obviously, in this game, in Age of Empire Mobile, you can actually do that, to be fair, because you just need one single very solid legion at the end of the day, and you can see that mine is actually the Lubu one. But anyway, it's just right now I'm building my legion against against heavy accounts. And one of the things I'm doing, we're going to talk about this thing later about the Attila, but my approach is very aggressive approach. Even though that my account is not having that much power, I'm having extremely aggressive approach to the enemy and very burst focused combo. And the reason behind is most likely I'm going to face some tier 8s and I want to strike before they destroy me. I mean, they're going to destroy me in both cases, but I prefer to have very solid burst at the beginning and after this get destroyed, or get destroyed and never actually do the burst. So but this is a topic for other video that is going to be on this channel, so don't forget to subscribe for this channel for more Age of Empire mobile videos. Also like the video because this one is going to give you some very interesting information. So we already know the two heroes. The third one, I think the majority of the players understands that high damage screenshots hide terrible long-term efficiency problems, especially when the people are just showing, yo, look at my legion, look how much damage they did. It's in different situation, all this thing, and you cannot make long-term investment just based on one screenshot. The other thing that I want to point out, especially when you're building your legion, is open field cavalry and rally cavalry are completely different systems. One wrong hero creates overlap weakness instead of synergy, and especially for the rallies. Now for open field, you're going to learn, okay? You're going to go out with your legion 10 times and you're going to see that, for example, you're not performing well. But with rallies, the casualties there are way bigger, and I think this is you have to be careful there. Now, one tip from me is let the whales and krakens do the rally. I mean, you just feel the rally. This is what I'm doing. I don't have builded heroes for rallies, and I always inspect the heroes that the rally leader are using. So if I see a very bad heroes with or horses or whatever, all the setup of the hero at the end of the fight, and I know this bad boy is having good rally composition or having bad rally composition. If he's having bad rally composition, most likely in the future he's going to use basically the same rally composition, and I'm going to get the same result. So I'm not going to join in this rally anymore. But yeah, the main purpose is going to be to fill the rallies for free-to-play players or WoW spenders like me, and not actually be a commander for the rallies. Let the krakens and whales do this job. So here we're mostly going to talk about open field because I think this is what people actually care about. And strong cavalry players build around battlefield row first. You always have to build around open field, not for rally, because this is going to be your major gameplay. At the end of the day, is going to be battlefield, open field fights. Now, why most players copy bad builds? Well, marches survive mistaken normal players instantly lose from. And yeah, here is the thing. You have a whale. This whale, for some reason, his march survive longer or actually do some damage. And you see, and this march is, for example, cavalry, and you want to build also cavalry or marksman or whatever. And this whale, just because it's having strong horses, adornments, rings, gear, gems, and etc. and levels, it's just this legion survive longer. But a normal player who is not having all these builds there or all these investments is going to think that his legion should behave the same way like the Whale Legion, and this is one of the most common mistake I see. Just normal players are copying some whale build, but nobody told them that this whale is having his ring maxed, of the rings maxed, is having some legendary horse, some crazy adornment, some crazy mythic gems, and etc. This is something that not many people actually talk about, and also the technology behind the troops is on max level. So you know, just by doing blindly copying some well built, it may actually be a bad decision. Now, wall spenders cannot blindly copy maximum damage cavalry builds. Also, you have to think in the future. Most copy builds ignore march sustainability completely. People are looking the damage, okay? People are looking the damage. And with Lubu, especially with this bad boy, the things are he's hitting, and killing, okay? You're going to see over and over again in the fights, Lubu just go there and basically kill everything or get killed. Some people are saying it's a glass cannon. Now, since we already talked about the glass cannon, we talk about the Attila that I built around Attila. Let's talk about finally the third hero to be Attila. So what I mean by that is Lubu, Attila, and Zhao Yun. Now, Attila. What kind of what kind of huge mistakes people are doing with Attila? Attila turns the march into pure aggression and burst damage. What I mean by that is the signature skill of this bad boy, 30% chance of your heroes to enter in the double attack state and increase your commander might by 50. This is for 3 seconds, but 20% is a very solid. Now here we also have Warrior Him, increase next hero might by 83, might bonus and critical strike some percentage. This can going to apply to Zhao Yun, by the way. Increase of your hero's critical strike rate by 10%. This is also boosting, very aggressive. Here the only defensive thing we're having here is this ring that I put it for a reason, but most likely I'm going to have to change it if I want to go very aggressive build, and this is against tier 8. Now against tier 8 you cannot afford to get killed before your heroes even trigger their spells, or at least to get couple magics on the battlefield. You know, you want to do some damage. You're going to get killed, but you want to do some damage at the end of the day. And Attila is the main reason I'm using that for pure aggression and burst damage. Now, players underestimate how risky glass cannon cavalry becomes. And yeah, this is a glass cannon build that I'm using, but I have a video where I'm explaining over on this. You can go and check it out on my channel. Maybe it's going to be on already, maybe not, I don't know, but there is a reason why I take this approach, this glass cannon approach with my cavalries. Now, Attila works best for aggressive rally focused battlefield players. Now, I don't lead rally, I want to point out this thing, but it's going to be very good for aggressive rally focused also march at the end of the day. Now, open field players often overcommit with this setup, and this is inefficient for well sustained battlefield situation. Now, this is the minuses I'm saying right now from my Attila build. There is some minuses, obviously. I cannot say this is something like the best build right there, but I intentionally did that. Now, let's talk about the other thing, and this is going to be Timur. If we go over and check it out, where is the Timur? Now, Timur builds looks weaker, but is actually having better sustainability at the end of the day. Timur sacrificed some aggression for consistency and reduction. You can go and check it out, the spell of the Timur. Most players, players wrongly think lower bursts mean weaker march. it's weaker March if you're fighting against tier 8. I mean, right now the dynamics in Age of Empire Mobile is way different from what was back in the days. Right now, the majority of the suggestion I'm going to give here is going to be mostly tier 7 against tier 7. But yeah, still, is going to give some consistency for the first 9 seconds, very important. After entering the battle, increase the hero damage due by some percentage, reduce your troop damage taken, every 9 seconds thereafter increase the hero damage due, then serving as commander reduce your troops damage taken, when serving as secondary command this effect decay 3 every 3 seconds and lasts for 9 seconds. Obviously this is a level 1. Also is having some other spells that can be can increase the survivability of this legion. But yeah, at the end of the day, this is the reason I don't use Timur, is just because I'm building my glass cannon cavalry setup. Now Timur setup survive much longer during extended battlefield pressure, and this is going to be good against legions that are same on power. What I mean same by power is, for example, the enemy is tier 7, you're tier 7, the level of the heroes are same. Basically, think that there is not huge changes, you know, from the legions. But if the enemy is way too stronger, maybe other approach is better here from this to go with Timur. Now, longer survival creates more overall battlefield contribution. Your heroes is also going to fire up more time. Strong players value uptime more than screenshot damage. Yeah, the strong players can actually afford going like this. Just to say, Timur helps stabilize cavalry against stronger accounts. These become critical during the kingdom against kingdom fights. Now, this is the part nobody's actually talking about, and the strongest cavalry setup depends on your actual battlefield role. And finally, I'm going to actually say a couple words about the Vlad. I don't have this hero, but I have decent amount of reports that I saw, and at my other account I actually have Vlad the Third. And let's talk about how the Vlad changed the entire playstyle. Now, Vlad's turned cavalry into much tankier frontline threat. Most players expect Vlad cavalry to delete enemy instantly. Now, what the Vlad is doing, when your hero with the highest might deals damage, the hero has 50% chance to deal might damage to the enemy troop. Might bonus, when the hero himself deals damage, there is 25% chance to ignore some of the target defense. So from first look, you know, Vlad is looking a little more aggressive, but still. Most basically the players expect Vlad cavalry to delete enemy instantly, but Vlad cavalry win through pressure and sustained trading at the end of the day. There is still some percentage here, 50% chance, 25% chance. All these chances, I really don't like it, and I don't see some crazy synergy between Lubu and Vlad the Third at the end of the day. Now, Vlad become extremely annoying during open field skirmishes. Tankier cavalry survives focus fire much more efficiently. Weaker players panic when cavalry does not instantly burst the target, and I think the expectation over the cavalry for something that is deleting troops is getting increased with the time. And the reason behind it is just because the cavalry are second by damage. This is one of the things. Because the first place is obviously the marksmen or archers. On the second one is cavalry by damage. So it's aggressive unit. And people have expectation in this direction. Now, weak player panic when cavalry doesn't do the burst, as I mentioned. Strong players understand battlefield control matter more sometimes. And you want to have how to say it, map control and all these things. And to achieve that, your legion should not be sent immediately home. They should be present on the battlefield. But the strong players don't actually care that much at the end of the day, because don't care that much over the builds, because each of the builds they're doing, especially if they're whale or kraken, is going to be a strong legion. So yeah, you have to know your account type, and your account type should decide the heroes. Now, free-to-play players need survivability and consistency more often, so they can be present on the battlefield. Mid spenders usually benefit most from balanced cavalry system, and heavy spenders can maximize glass cannon aggression much easier. Now, the glass cannon aggression is something that I'm also doing, but again, I have my reasons that I put in different video. Now, weak tech cannot support reckless cavalry aggression reliable. So what I mean by that is, if you don't have the tech, most likely it's better to not go glass cannon and just build more sustained, more balanced cavalry system at the end of the day. So yeah, maybe I'm going to finish with the biggest cavalry trap players ignore. Everything so far isn't even the biggest mistake that we spoke about. Most players build cavalry before understanding some future replacement. Future meta shifts can instantly destroy bad investment. And it's not only for the bad investment at the end of the day. I mean, we're building one legion, and imagine you're building your Lubu, and tomorrow some crazy marksmen appear, water archer, and can even destroy Lubu, even though that cavalry is countering archers. It's just this type of things that can shift with each season. So I cannot actually say this is one of the biggest mistake, but at the end of the day, you have to have in your head flexibility for the future changes. Let me know if you want me to make this type of video. Again, here I'm going to put one other video that I think is going to be interesting for you. So far, I wish you a great day. Leave the comment what you think about the cavalry. Do you use glass cannon cavalry? Do you use more balanced system or more defense system cavalry on the battlefield? I wish you a great day and see you in the next video.